Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I have come up with a new interesting case in which I am going to demonstrate how to do a stretch pupilloplasty in a patient. I am performing manual small incision cataract surgery with a poorly dilating pupil. Well, by this time one side port has been made, anterior chamber has been stained up with trypan blue dye, and sodium hyaluronate has already been instilled into the anterior chamber. Well, the idea of manual pupilloplasty, stretch pupilloplasty, is using two Kuglen hooks, and the pupil is being stretched at multiple points wherein we have multiple minor small sphincterotomies, so that we have a decent size of pupil, so that we can perform manual small incision cataract surgery with less of problems. And here I am using two Kuglen hooks to just manually stretch the pupil in multiple quadrants. And the good idea of using Kuglen hook is that it's a good tool. It's smooth surface, helps in good pupil stretching. Also, there are less chances of any injury to the anterior capsule. And here it is. We have got a decent size of pupil. Here I am using a micro rhexis forceps. A flap has already been raised using a 26 gauge pendle cystitome, and I am planning to make a small rhexis. Although there is no milky fluid which has come out after the puncture of the anterior capsule. And now is the time to decompress the capsular bag using bimanual irrigation and aspiration. And I am using 23 gauge bimanual irrigation aspiration to just decompress the capsular bag, so that we don't have any fluid filled pockets. And now is the time to inject 1.4 sodium hyaluronate. Care is taken to not inject the high molecular viscoelastic into the capsular bag. After nicking the anterior capsule using microrhexis scissor, now I have started initiating, and at about 12 o'clock I have got a capsular extension. The rhexis has gone to the periphery, so I am cutting the flap using a micro scissors because I could not retrieve the extended rhexis. Nonetheless, when we are doing a manual small incision cataract surgery, if we have a discontinuous rhexis, there is not much of a problem because we are going to perform a low pressure, low flow surgery. After the congenital peritomy and the cautery of the bleeders, and I am fashioning a frown shaped sclero incision. Now using a crescent blade, I am just marking the ends of the incision, and I am going to make a trapezoid shaped incision. The external incision is about 6.5 millimeters, and I am going to make an internal incision of about 7 to 7.5 millimeters. The bevel of the keratome is kept upwards along the contour of the cornea, so that we don't have any premature entry. Left side scleral tunnel is made with scleral pockets, and now the right sided scleral tunnel is being made. This is an edited video, and the major concerns are only highlighted. So the right side of the scleral tunnel is being made with scleral pockets. Now I have got a decent sized trapezoid tunnel, And now using a 2.8 kiloton blade, it's time to open the tunnel. I'm only cutting while moving forwards so that we have an internal opening which is almost parallel to the limbus. Now using two small Sinskey hooks, the nucleus is gradually gently wheeled out of the capsular bag into the entry chamber. Some viscoelastic is instilled in front of the nucleus and some behind to protect both corneal endothelium as well as posterior capsule. The size of the nucleus is substantially large, and using a phaco sandwich technique, the nucleus is smoothly delivered out of the eye. Because I don't have a continuous capsular axis, I prefer to just remove majority of the cortex and epinucleus just by irrigation, using a irrigation handpiece of the bimanual irrigation and aspiration. So I have now switched on to the retroillumination mode of the microscope, and here I am irrigating out whatever the cortex is there. I've got few areas of hanging anterocapsular margins, so I don't want to touch them. And now I plan to implant the intraocular lens. The capsular bag antechamber is filled up with viscoelastic. And here I am planning to implant a 3-piece intraocular lens, PMMA. The reading haptic goes inside the eye, and here I am planning to implant the lens into the sulcus because of the discontinuous capsular axis margin, we don't have a proper capsular bag, and the lens is being implanted into the sulcus. The trailing haptic is now being dialed into the sulcus below the iris, and now the lens is being centered using the Sinskey hook. Here I am using the irrigation jet of the bimanual irrigation aspiration just to flush out whatever viscoelastic is been there in below the lens and in the antechamber, and also using both the handpiece of irrigation aspiration, I am just going to remove the viscoelastic from the antechamber. In this case, we don't have a very clean capsular axis, so not too very keen and over enthusiastic to remove much of the cortex or viscoelastic. Air has been inserted into the AC. When we have implanted the lens into the sulcus, the lens is bound to subluxate a bit. So here I have also instilled some pilocarpine to just get down the pupil so that the lens gets its proper shape and location into the eye in the ciliary sulcus. Now is the time to close, and here I have planned to close using interrupted 10-0 nylon suture. This is also going to take care of the against the rule astigmatism which would have been caused because of this large incision. Ends are cut using the Vanna scissor, and the knot is being rotated inside the eye. One more interrupted suture is being placed, and the knot would be just rotated inside the eye. That's it, the case is done. Hope do you like the video. Do like, share and subscribe my channel, help the channel to grow. And do comment if you have any queries. Thank you so much.